Well, hello everyone. It is me again here coming at you with yet another video. As promised, I am going to be working on making these more consistent as far as for bringing them to you. For one, when I say I'm going to, and for two, just having them on a regular basis. So, currently I've got tonight's video and two other videos lined up for this week. One is going to be talking about the new toys that are out, which will be going over the machines, dolls, plants, and animals, as far as for what they give out, best things about them, things I don't like about them, that sort of thing. As I understand it, fields between somewhere around 180, it sounds like, and 280 do not yet have the update with the new toys, which also therefore means you don't have wow, not metal, but metal talent. Geez, metal and metal just sound the same. Anyways, so you guys don't have that yet, so I am going to be doing videos about those. So do stay tuned, as those will be coming out here in the next couple of days as well. But for tonight, I wanted to talk to everyone about a common area that people seem to ask about, which is the departments building. Not so much your assignment, but more of your command part. So I wanted to basically give a rundown of how things should correlate. Obviously, I understand some people may not have this many stars, some people have more stars, things like that. For someone who has a basic amount of stars, and you can go through, and if you try your darndest, you can get 16 stars. Like you can see, I have an engineer of 16 stars. And for, I think, every one of these, the max that they require is 16 stars for all four attributes. This is going to be played in for people like you. If you obviously have a couple of areas you can have 16 stars in, that's even better. But basically, this is for people who don't have enough to cover every area, or you can cover a couple of areas. So basically, first off, always recommend having your plastic income increased. So all you need to hear is 5 stars. You don't have to use Chris and Bull. Obviously, using Chris and Bull does allow you to gather gold on the field faster. I personally have never once ever gathered gold. Um, to me, it's just a waste of time for the little bit you get and the amount of time it takes. For me personally, I don't do it. Anyway, so besides that, because people obviously always need plastic, that's why I recommend using the commissioner. I'm not going to even say the word. Anyways, skipping that. So moving on. Basically, in my opinion, if you do not have enough stars to have multiple areas maxed out, so like this one takes 16 stars, this one here also takes 16 stars, you need to look and see if you can only do one area. I personally recommend either going for the auditor, as it utilizes resources when it comes to building and research. This one I would actually switch between quite a bit. This is why, because here with engineer, sure, your paint income is increased. For those of you doing a lot of building, you really do need paint, so you want that. Gathering speed is always a plus, and clearly your troop load is a huge factor as far as for this making the amount of troops required to gather a tile is largely impacted by this ability, and the fact that you can send more troops, well, you send the same amount of troops to your core gathering. However, they'll be bringing back way more than they would if you don't have this skill set available. So this is where it gets tricky. Let's say you only have enough for one or two areas and you don't know what you want to have it set on. It all depends on what you're doing at the time. If it's the third day of the week, so it's okay, second or third day of the, no, third or fourth day of the week. So it's either increasing your building power or research power, or using speed ups for research or building. For those 2 days, what I would recommend doing, if you can utilize two areas at once, would be technician, because it's going to make your building speed faster, your technology speed faster, and even troop training. You could use that for Thursday when the event is training troops, just to make your time less. And I would recommend using auditor, because as I already said, it makes everything it makes things cheaper. Now, in each area, you can get a higher percentage of things. There's two ways. One, you can upgrade, which you upgrade by using feet, and you get feet by attacking people and making them lose power. You get an equal amount of feet. Well, I should say it's a 10% of the power someone loses when you attack their base. That's how many feet, that's how much feet you get. So if you drop someone 150,000 power when you attack them, you're going to get 15,000 feet. That's how that works. And eventually, one day I'll show that and give a couple other things about feet. But that's how you get it, or you can purchase it in packs, or from Time Traveler. Those are the only three ways it's available. So one, you can either level up a section, which will increase your percentages, or having a higher level officer. The higher level the officer is, the higher the percentage rate it goes up. And I do believe it's every 5 levels that it's impacted. It's not every 10, it's not for every level. So if you have, let's say, 5 level 26s, and you have an area that's like, you have officers in there that are like level 24, don't bother switching them out, because your percentage rate is not going to increase. So back to what I was saying. If you can utilize two areas at once, any time that you're going to build or do research, have technician, not strategist, and auditor maxed out at 16 stars. That way you're getting your full potential for your building speed and the cheapness of resources to do the building or research. When you're not doing any upgrades, switch back over to your engineer. That way you're getting your troop load and gathering speed, so that way you're still gathering as much as possible. Now, on weekends during the kill event, I strongly recommend using either commander or strategist. If you don't have enough for both, you can only do one, I'm going to tell you to use the strategist, because the strategist is your attack, defense, hit points of all troop types. It's not limited. It's everything. Whereas the commander, it starts from artillery, then it goes to copter, commando, and then vehicle. Yes, it is all attributes for that specific troop type, but it is limited to that. So if you don't have enough for if you don't have enough for both areas, you only have enough for one, the percentage rate in your strategist typically will be higher, because if you're going down the list when you're upgrading each category, you're going to get to strategist first anyways, because that's what you unlock first. So that's what you're going to upgrade first. So utilize your strategist while that is still the stronger one. Now, if you eventually get your commander to be equal to or stronger than your strategist, that is when I'd recommend switching your officers over and maximizing your potential here. Cannot talk tonight, I apologize. But basically, that's my recommendation for that. Guardian, it is and isn't good. The problem with Guardian is, unless you're building a lot of fortifications, you're really not going to use it unless you have the 4 officers in the top or bottom. If you're in newer fields, you don't even have access to 3 out of the 4 officers in the top, so you're only going to have the 4 bottom ones, which is Wan Yu, Headless, Captain Glory, and Turkey, the Turkey Knight. There we go. Took me a second, sorry. So basically, unless you've spent money in the game, you're not going to be able to have those 4 officers. So leveling up and upgrading your Guardian ability isn't even going to do you very much good, just because it isn't. Once you've got money in the game, or once you do have those officers, sure, of course, you can use them. You can lock the bottom 3 traits here. But the training dummies and officer supplies it's going to take you to get these officers to level 40. So they are 4 stars, so you get all 16 stars to maximize your potential there. I have a feeling you could definitely use those training dummies and officer supplies on other more important officers. So I apologize if my advice here is not the way you would do it, but for me personally, I wouldn't worry about those officers until you have your attacking officers or gathering officers where you want them. That's just the way I do it. So unless it coincides, unless you have those officers and you already use them, it just isn't going to work. Also, another thing that people sometimes fail to realize is that the Headless Knight actually is the only officer that is utilized in 2 areas. And I don't remember where it is. Can't remember if it's Technician or Commander. Let's say Commander then. Yes. So Commander in Guardian is where Headless is utilized. So if you only have one, you need to pick. Are you going to be attacking people, or are you going to be defending yourself? If you end up getting, wow, I went back way too far. If you end up getting the 4 officers needed for Guardian, you then need to decide where you want your Headless, or you have to have 2 of them at level 40. Do keep in mind, the officers that you have assigned can be rank 1. They don't have to be ranked up, but the stars and level is what matters in the categories. That's really all I can think of for this, as far as for how it works and the best way to do it if you cannot utilize every category at the same time. Obviously, the goal is eventually to have all 4 officers required in each category and have them all at level 40 with 4 stars, if not higher. Obviously, as I said, the higher the level, the more your percentage goes up. So if you have them at level 80, you're maxing yourself out. Or if it's a 4-star officer, if you have it level 60, you've got yourself maxed out. So that's how I would recommend to do it. How you end up deciding to do it is completely up to you, but those are my recommendations. So I think that's all I've got, in all honesty. So feel free to like, share, comment. Obviously, you're not required to, but you can if you want to be nice. Or you could also not. It doesn't make a difference to me. But hopefully this was helpful to some of you. And if not, well then, stay tuned, because eventually I'm sure I'll have something that is helpful for you. And that's all I have for this evening. I still am looking for ideas as far as for the gift cards I was talking about for Google Play or Apple, as far as for the drawing I was talking about doing here in another 2 weeks. So please, if you have ideas, creative ways of how to select the winners of that, I'm still looking for those. So you can submit your ideas either on YouTube, or you can message Born Assassin in game, or you can message born.assassin online app. So that's all I've got for everyone. Hopefully, everyone had a wonderful weekend. I understand there's a couple of fields, 285 and another one. I don't remember. It might have been 284. I'm not good with remembering numbers. Sorry, so I'm going to stop while I'm ahead on that one. But there were two fields that were completely shut down for like the last 5 hours of deep battle this weekend. So kind of a bum deal. Hopefully everything got worked out with that. And I'm hoping that everyone else had a good deep. Mine wasn't terrible, could have been better, but you win some, you lose some. It's how it works. But yes, that is officially all I have now. So thank you very much, and I will hopefully be talking to you guys in another 2 days. Okay, not hopefully. I will be talking to you guys in another 2 days. So have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Thank you.